Hi, Krista. It's Amanda Robinson, and we're going to go over your lesson today. First, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. Just bear with me for a minute. Um, so are you able to see
Yes.
that?
Yep, now I can see it.
All right, let me see if I can move
Hmm.
here. Okay, you can still see it. All right.
Yes.
All right. Let me just. All right. So I had the opportunity to read over your lesson plan on objectives and verbs with adaptations for your student, Erin. To begin, the questions you have written to pause and ask during the different supports, the questions that read, what other possibilities are listed? What other possibilities are there instead of this word? And the question, does this really want paint a picture? The question, how can we make different choices to offer the reader an image? And the question you proposed during the review and closing section, the question is, why is this skill so important to writers? Are great thought-provoking questions. This leads me to your guided practice, though. The activity of having students concentrate on thinking of the images, the read aloud and examples bring, sorry, uh, and so the activity of having students concentrate on thinking of the images during the read aloud examples brings their mind to think about it, which is a fantastic way to enrich their senses and creativity. So I really thought that was a good way to add that into your lesson plan um, to bring in incorporate all their senses. And the questions themselves were really provoking, which I thought was a positive in the lesson plan. So I enjoyed that. I do want to discuss with you the sentence building stations that you had written. I just need clarification so I could understand the flow of the lesson plan. I like the concept and the activity. It gives the students to interact with one another while they focus on one skill, which are identifying verbs, identifying objectives, replacing the weak words, and then explaining the impact of them. So there will be four sentence building stations, correct, for each of those different skills?
Correct.
Okay. I get, so I'm just wondering where within the lesson plan you were planning to do those four stations.
Can we pause for a minute?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let me just go ahead. I don't know if I know how to pause. Oh,
I
found
think
it.
just
Sorry, go ahead.
okay. So I'm just kind of looking at
So I don't, if you're looking for it, it's under the visual supports pretty much at the top on the lesson plan. You
yes.
sh
Yep. That's right. I'm just
oh,
so I think, in reading her directions, because I noticed on yours you adapted the entire lesson plan,
uh-huh.
where in the directions, in the one part it says rewrite the lesson plan, but then underneath it says adapt one part of it. So that is what I did.
Okay.
So I didn't adapt the whole lesson plan
Okay.
because, again, the way I read the directions, we only had to do the one part. So,
All right.
which was the objective in my answer.
Okay, so the objective was so that doing the four stations would be part of your change in your objective?
So in the direction, she said to incorporate universal design ideas um, as part of your answer. And so that's what I did. Like I said, using the visual supports, the choice of content, um, to adapt it for both the student with the learning disability and then the other students in the classroom.
So during which part of the lesson is that? Because you have um, so scrolling down here, it wouldn't be during the introduction time where you'd have these four stations. Would it be during the
Correct. Right.
explicit instruction, teacher modeling, or during the guided practice, or during the independent working time?
I think during the guided practice.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So do you
Okay.
want to record it? I mean, I feel like this is valid dialogue. Do you?
Right, right, right. I just kind of got lost for a second. I'm sorry.
No,
I was
it's
just trying
okay.
to.
No, I know. I'm like several weeks that all these different projects between these two classes. I'm like trying to keep everything straight of all these different scenarios, and even in
Right,
my
right,
real
right.
teaching life, different
Right.
students.
Okay.
Do you want me to record and I can again, and then you can just say that it's during
Yeah.
the
Yes. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yes. Okay.
okay.
Good.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hi, Krista. It's Amanda
Hello.
Robinson. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Um, just give me a second here. Can you see the screen I'm sharing with you?
Yes, I can.
Okay. All right. So I had a chance to opportunity to read over your lesson plan on objectives and verbs with adaptations for your student Erin. To begin, the questions you had written to ask during the differential support section. What and the questions were, what other possibilities are there instead of this word? And the question, does this really paint a picture? And the question, how can we make a different choices to offer the reader an image? You also propose questions during the review and closing. Why is this skill so important to writers? Are great thought-provoking questions. And then I think that it really gives the students a chance to tap into their senses and creativity to have dialogue with themselves and the instructor um,
Mhm.
about about this subject of verbs and adjectives and so forth. So I like that. That was very well done. A part of your lesson plan. I do want to discuss with you the sentence building stations that you had in for the adaptation. I'm just looking for clarification so I can understand the flow of the lesson plan. I like the concept and the activity it gives the students to interact with one another while they focus on one skill. You had stations where they would focus on one skill, and the different skills were identifying verbs, identifying adjectives, replacing weak words, and then explaining the impact. So if I'm understanding correctly, there would be four sentence building stations.
Correct. Yes.
So my question is, at what point will these stations occur? Would it be during the explicit instruction, teacher modeling time, the guided practice time, or during the independent working time?
During the guided practice time, because that way
Okay.
the teacher could, you know, um, rotate through the stations to help students with the activities.
Okay. And then my other question for that, just from my understanding of the adaptation, is what other question, sorry, how will the students know which station is focusing on which four skills? Is there going to be like a para at that station, or um, will you have a worksheet that will say, just point out the adjectives or the verbs in it?
So there would be a para at each station
Awesome. Okay, great.
to help the students, explain what they're doing.
Awesome. Okay. I read your bio on this on your student Erin. The key information that stuck out to me is that she has a learning disability with emotional disturbance and a speech language impairment. She responds better with small group instruction or one-to-one instruction. You also mentioned that she has difficulty staying focused, processing information, organizing ideas, expressing thoughts, and composing detailed sentences. You also mentioned Erin's main challenge is anxiety, which looks like outbursts when she is overwhelmed. From that information, I have a couple of suggestions.
Okay.
One, um, give Erin additional materials for this lesson. I would suggest giving Erin a vocabulary list of adjective, noun, and verb, along with an example sentence what the highlighting verb in that example sentence. So she would have that to refer back to help with the continued support that she may need for reference so that she doesn't get anxiety of mixing up the different English components. And then also a pre-written list of adjectives and verbs for Erin to choose from so that she doesn't also become stressed about having to make the choices of which one to use. So if she would have giant under as under the adjective, giant, extraordinary, great, then she would have a list to choose from for
Right,
herself.
right.
What do you think about that?
I think that makes a lot of sense. It's funny, in my former position, we used word banks a lot with our students, which was really helpful to
Okay.
help them to like fill because we used to it was a I was in a special education culinary program and we
Oh,
were
yeah.
teaching recipes. So in order to have them to help them learn the recipes, we'd have a word bank and they have to fill in the blanks of the different ingredients or procedures and
Hmm.
whatnot. So I agree that a word bank or like you said, a list is definitely a good idea.
Awesome.
So
Good.
yeah,
Then that was the word I should have
great
used, word
feedback.
bank. The other suggestion I have for you is during the independent working time while students are revising worksheet sentences, um, to reduce anxiety, cross out the odd or even numbered examples. So that would give Erin only half the amount of examples to do. Um,
Okay.
the pre-written list of verbs and adjectives would be useful for Erin. The suggestion I gave previously of having that list of adjectives and verbs already for her. Having that list should also diminish her anxiety, allow her to be more organized, focused, and assist with written expression, which are part of her um, identified issues that I read in the bio that you provided.
Mhm. Yeah, that
And
makes sense as well, reducing the workload.
And then I have a third suggestion that during the assessment time, since Erin has the original sentence written out in front of her, I don't think it'll affect her writing composition delays when she goes to rewrite the sentence using more impactful verbs and adjectives. So that's good. I think that's great that you had given the example on the board, so that when you're asking students to write their own sentence but change out the verb or the adjective, she can easily compose that because she's just transcribing and she's not coming up with her own sentence. And the same thing on the worksheets I looked at, she has a sentence already built, so she just needs to pull. She doesn't have the anxiety or the worriment of coming up with spelling or composition. Um,
Right.
because she has the word from the word bank, then she also has a sentence written in front of her. So that shouldn't delay. It's not like she's typing out her own sentences on the keyboard or writing them out from her own thoughts.
Right, right.
But when this is when the pre-written list of verbs or adjectives would be useful. So again, I think
Mhm.
that would be backing up if you're in agreement with giving her that word bank.
Absolutely.
It
Yeah.
also having that word bank, I think, would keep her organized, which is something that a goal, something that we want to improve on her having is being organized. Hopefully, it will keep her focused and assist with her written expression. And then
Mhm.
lastly, during the review and closing time, I'm wondering if this exercise could have students pick a partner that they have not yet worked with. So let me just go back and I just want to read what you had put down for the closing here. Um, during the review and closing time, you asked students to share their revisions openly to the class. And then, so for that, I'm sorry, I just lost my one page here. Um, could we think about during that closing time exercise if we have the students pick a partner instead of sharing out loud in front of the class? This might decrease her anxiety with having to express herself or fumble over words. It may even eliminate an outburst because she's so worried about the social
Mhm.
pressures of doing that in front of
Right.
others.
That
Okay.
makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those were my suggestions. And it seems like you were pretty much, oh yeah, that
Mhm.
makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions for me about any of the suggestions I offered?
Like, no questions, just I do appreciate the different perspective because it's funny when, you're writing things down yourself, you don't always think of all the different ways that things can be
Yeah.
adapted. So it's nice to get a different perspective.
Right. Well, and
So,
I'm sure also with when, somebody gives me feedback, they're like, oh, you should have done this. And I'll just give you an example. I gave a lesson to a new class the other day, and a student who's already identified, he had, but it's not on my caseload, he openly said, well, are you going to grade us on this? And I'm like, no, it's not for grading. And it then turned into very problematic. The feedback from his gen ed teacher was like, don't ever tell the student it's not going to be graded because they will immediately not take it serious. I'm like, you're absolutely right. I don't know what I was thinking at that moment.
mhm,
But in hindsight, yes, thank you for remind because maybe I was a little rusty. I haven't taught a class in a couple
mhm,
months.
mhm,
So, on my own. So I was like, yes, you're absolutely, or in that kind of setting with that type of population. I'm like, you're absolutely right. I was not prepared for them to instantly give me opposition once they found out it was not going to be graded. They were not going to
right,
follow through
right.
with the activity. So yeah,
Mhm,
I sometimes you have to look at it from a different lens or from an outside
mhm,
perspective. And then it's like,
right.
oh yeah. So I understand that.
Mhm,
Um, all right. So that's what I had for Aaron. I thank you for sharing that with me. It was a pleasure going through the
mhm.
process with you, Krista. And good luck with Erin in her class and so forth.
Thanks.
Okay. I believe. Oops. Do you want to say change the dollar? Let me just closing out that window. I'm going to stop sharing that screen.
Okay.
Stop share. Stop share. So,
Okay. All
okay.
right. So I'll share my screen now.
Okay.
There we go. Okay. All right. So, hi, Amanda. I'm going to talk about the lesson that you shared with me, how oil spills affect ecosystems. And we're going to talk about your student, Josh. And I like how you adapted the materials for him, having everything uploaded onto his computer. I think that's a great idea because then he has all the materials right there in color coded folders so that he can easily access them. And I think that will definitely assist him with reducing frustration because one of the things that you had mentioned in his bio that was that he gets easily frustrated.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that's definitely it happens very quickly. So I think that's definitely a great way to help reduce that frustration. And I think at the same time, that'll also help him to grasp concepts at the same rate as his peers, because you said that's another thing that causes him a lot of frustration is when he feels like he can't keep up. And I think having everything right there in front of him easily access will help him to do that. And then the other thing that another idea that I thought was really great for him was assigning him seating in a quiet part of the room with the overhead lights dimmed or covered to dim the lighting, because again, he has a sensitivity to that. It's funny in my old classroom, it's amazing the difference that turning of the lights makes in your classroom.
Oh, yeah.
I've done that so often, and it just completely calms everything down. So again, I think that's a wonderful idea for him, to help him not have to worry about that sensitivity and help to focus more on the work.
Mhm.
So I think that was great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The only suggestion I had, and something I didn't notice, is maybe incorporating breaks into the lesson for him, actually writing them into his specific lesson plan. For example, you said it says he likes to play video games on the computer, so he's already on his computer. So maybe um, giving the directive, if you can, once you're finished answering the two discussion questions, you can have 5 minutes to play a video game, for example. Maybe
Mhm.
knowing that he has him to um, be less frustrated, more motivated to complete that part of the lesson. So,
Yeah, I do see that about him taking breaks and elopement. Um, I would I would want to think about that, and I before giving him the ability to, because if he does video games on his computer, my concern would be him transitioning back after he gets those 5 minutes. Josh is fairly new to me,
good
and I'm
point.
concerned
Hmm.
if I give him those 5 minutes, is that going to then cause an outburst because, okay, he wants to finish the game or beat that level, and he doesn't want to move on
I see what
to
you're
the
saying.
next section of our lesson, and then therefore doesn't complete the work. But
Mhm.
offering him a break, I think, is good. And I would definitely take that into consideration, looking where within the lesson plan or making some
Mhm.
kind of visual that he can. I had read somewhere about kids having a red solo cup and a green solo cup. Putting up the red solo cup, then they need just to take like a minute walk, whether they have attention issues or fidgety because they're ADHD, they
Mhm.
need to just have a movement break. And I really like thinking about that. I need to just take a walk to the water fountain, even though I'm not thirsty. I need to go down and say
Right, right.
hi to the nurse because she's my favorite person that allows me to take a break, just say hi to the nurse and come back.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
maybe incorporating that might, but because his work is on the computer and the games, I I need to have a break incorporated where I can have set variables in it so the nurse knows, hey, Josh is saying hi.
Mhm.
Hey, Josh, do you want a
Mhm.
cough drop? How are you doing today? And then,
Right.
okay, head back. Where video games there might not as be as good variables. There's
Right.
not set,
Right.
there's too many variables. But no, he does
Mhm.
do well
Mhm.
with breaks. So yes,
Right.
I would consider that. It's a good consideration.
Okay. And it could be maybe once you get to know him more, you could learn more like what motivates him, like what his reinforcers are, and incorporate those, like I said, instead of the video games. So, okay. Did you have any questions for me?
No. So you think video games, do you have any other ideas for a seventh grader, um, or any past experience with giving students some kind? Now he has a problem of elopement, so that's the other thing we're trying to keep him in class instead of the
Right, right.
elopement. So not necessarily on the computer because I don't want him then to be in other files. I want him to be able to stay focused, even though video games are something that he enjoys doing. Um, and something that maybe not necessarily too far out of the classroom because of his elopement history. Do you have any other suggestions that you've used in the past for students who need to take a break that you've used that worked?
I'm trying to think. I remember when I was at the learning center, like again, walks were one. Give them the chance to sit and put their head down. That was another
Okay, yeah.
one. Um, Something like that. If it's something in the classroom, like if maybe he likes to, I don't know, look at a book or something, like that might like something that he likes to do for pleasure, like read the
Mhm.
books for pleasure rather than something school related. Give
Right.
him the chance to do something like that. Um, or if not, and I know my current classroom, because like I said, I work with first graders, um, but videos are oftentimes
Oh,
a reinforcer. Like, if you do this, then you can have 5 minutes of they like Curious George, for example, or
Yeah.
Bluey. That's another popular one. So
Yeah.
something like that.
No, actually, I like that one because if I say, if he already knows our agreement ahead of time, you can take a break. If you finish that before the rest of the class, you can watch a 5 minute approved YouTube. And then the 5 minutes is up. So then he can never be longer than a 5 minutes behind the class. But he knows that
Right.
score. He can go in and do a 5 minute YouTube because it's over then.
Mhm.
Hopefully, he doesn't want to click onto the next YouTube that he sees on the
Right.
side. Um,
Yeah.
but maybe something like that where I can definitely put parameters on. So yeah, that's a good
Hmm.
suggestion.
Hmm.
Oh,
Okay.
our meeting will end in 10 minutes. So is there anything else that you could suggest or anything else?
No, that was all.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Chris. I appreciate the
Of course.
feedback.
Yep,
Yeah,
of
I hope you have
course.
a good school year.
Thank you. Thank you. Like I said, it's I had some extra students because there was a classroom they opened that did not have a teacher. And that teacher started last week, so now I'm back to my regular roster. So it's nice to be able to focus on them.
Awesome.
So
I'm
yeah.
gonna go ahead and pause or stop the recording if that's okay with
Okay.
you. Which one do
Sure.
you choose, stop or pause?
I think stop.